Hi, this is Wade Stewart, author of The Personal Retreat, and I wanted to share a little bit about kind of a weekly process I do, which is to sit down for about 2 hours every Thursday. I sit down and go over my goals, and I go into my calendar and figure out what kinds of steps I need to do to accomplish those goals, and then plug those into the calendar using some time blocking. Some time blocking doesn't work for some people. I've been working on studying how time management and task management work for different kinds of people, and it's remarkable what does and doesn't work. One of the things that I do with the personal retreat is encourage people to experiment with a system that really works for them. If it accomplishes the goal and you never touch time blocking and you hate it, all the more power to you. The only right way to do it is the way that works out, right? So anyway, that's what I do on Thursdays. But one of the first things I do on Thursdays is I take an hour with my trusty little notepad and I sit and write. And I have a few prompts for that. Some of them are gratitude prompts. Some of them are a whole list of prompts like what did I want to be when I grew up, or like 15 or 20 prompts. I can share those sometime with you if you like. Just comment and let me know if you want to see those. But one of the things I also do is a prompt which is to write down 10 things about a topic. So it might be write down 10 new vegetables that I want to can, or write down 10 new social media blog post topics that I want to do. So things like that. So one of the things, so I'm looking for a web developer. I do web development. I've done it in the past. It's very time consuming. I'm not bad at it, but I don't have time to do it because I'm doing other things. So now I'm looking for a web developer. So I had to sit down and go, okay, well, who do I want for a web developer? So my 10 things were 10 things to look for in a good web developer, and I jotted them down. Some of them are good, some of them might not be so good, but the point was to write down 10. So I've got 10. So I want to share them with you just in case you need to look for a web developer. Maybe these would be beneficial to you. So the first one is that they do a good user interface. The user interface on a website is basically it's natural and it feels good to click on the different things. It's a natural. They call it UX, which is user experience. You want a good user experience, so check out what they've done and see if there's a good user experience with the website that they do. The next one is ease of updating. Now, sometimes they'll put custom code in the website, and what might happen is if that custom code is very fixed, it won't adapt to things like longer pieces of text or bigger pictures, and it won't flex with that. And so if you plop in a bigger picture and you don't think to resize it first, and then it goofs the website up, and then you've got to go back to the developer to have them touch it again. So they need to be able to do some really good updating. It has to be easy to update, so you don't have to do a lot of issues with that. The third one is solid plugin and theme choices. Now, this is speaking specifically to WordPress sites, which I tend to go toward because you have more control on the site. Arguably, they rank better on Google and than the others that we know that are out there. There's some positives and negatives, obviously, to WordPress. So, but WordPress has these plugins, and you can get them from a vast marketplace of different kinds of plugins. But they are sometimes they're good, sometimes they're brand new, and they'll never be supported again. Sometimes you find one that's mediocre, but it's or very good, but it's brand new. It's only been on the market for maybe 2 weeks. The thing about plugins and themes is they need to be supported. The one thing that's going to change on the web is the way computers read the websites. So you have to have that in mind when you're selecting a web developer, that they're using plugins and themes that will stand the test of time. If they've been around for a year and they're getting updated regularly, they'll probably be around for more. So that's always a good thing. Number 4 is security. As a IT person myself and big into security, I know that web pages are some of the most targeted by hackers because like every web page is a bullhorn. and you're just blasting information out there. Well, nothing better for a hacker to find a bullhorn that's available for them to take over. So we don't want to have that happen. So every website that your prospective developer does better be really secure. So that was another one. Number 5 includes a good privacy page, and if you're doing international stuff, it needs to conform to, and I might have had the letters wrong, GPDR, which is a standard for privacy globally. It doesn't really apply in the United States, but if you're going to do business overseas through your website, then you need to comply with GDPR. That's probably what it is, GDPR, rolled off a bit easier. Number 6. This is another very specific to WordPress thing, but the developer should be using child themes. Child themes enable the theme to be updated without wrecking the website. Sometimes a theme update will come out and you'll apply the update, and if you're working off of the raw theme data and that data gets changed, like some customization, like you put a different font over here, or you put a table right over here that just works just right for you, that's custom code, and that theme will overwrite it, and now you've got to go figure out what that code was and what that font was and all that other stuff. So make sure they're using child themes. Number 7, their portfolio, so when you're looking at the web developer's portfolio of sites they're doing, includes the type of site you need. So what kind of site do you need? Is it an information site? It's kind of like an internet business card where you just have a page, it's an about you, and that's it. Kind of a one-page site. Maybe you have some other information on it, like pictures or whatever, but that's about it. Maybe you're collecting contacts, so you have maybe a landing page or two where people can enter in information and get added to a mailing list, or you just want to be able to contact them, or they want to get on your calendar to do some kind of speaking engagement. You may have a gallery, like if you're a web developer or a photographer, you might just have this big gallery of pictures. This is really important, especially with the web developers, to make sure that they're doing the style that you like, how you want your pictures to be presented. And it speaks to the things that are being presented. So it puts those right up front, putting those up on a pedestal, so to speak. So that would be good. And if you're doing an e-commerce, again, they better have some e-commerce behind them, because that can be very complex and can need to be updated quite frequently, depending on the plugins and the way that they put it together. And then if you have a blog, the blog needs to flow really well. So any of those, or a combination of those factors, should be something that web developer has done in the past, and it's done it to what you think you would enjoy. Number 8 is being accessible. Now this is a personal thing, that the developer themselves are accessible to you. They might set an expectation of returning your communication. This is very common, and I know from having a brick and mortar IT business, I would have people ask me all the time, do you do web development? Because your guys are so responsive, but my web developer, I emailed him a month ago just to get a picture put on my website, and it's taking forever. He won't even write me back. Yeah, that happens really frequently with web developers. Not maybe the big house web developers, who are going to cost a bit, but the one-man shop, they just take on a lot of work and they get really busy. So the one-man shops are great. They're still great if they can communicate with you what the expectation is to get back to you, right? And this kind of goes into number 9, works with a contract. This is, and the note I wrote here was, if they don't value their own time, they won't value yours. And what I mean by that is, and I've done web development for people, and I've run into this too, where there's an expectation that you can just change things, like flip a switch, change it, flip a switch, change it. I don't like the picture there, move it. This picture's no good, replace this picture, put this text instead. Did you spell check that? Constant change, constant change. For a web developer who's working on a timeline, might be working on several projects at once, having to go back and forth is rough. It really is. And it's hard to schedule your time when you're being so reactive. So you set up a contract. You say, I'm going to create a web page, and you're going to have a design space which is going to involve a certain number of hours. And then they tell you as those hours are being depleted, so you know, okay, I better be really careful about the choices that I'm making here, because I can't just bring in a bunch of color swatches and have you paint the whole place and go, hey, this color isn't going to work. You're going to, it's much better to take the time to delineate out what these different phases are and how they're being paid for and when the payment's due and all that kind of stuff. They value their time, they're going to value yours too. If they pop up with a contract, wonderful. It protects us both. And number 10, do they have clients to use as references to fill in any gaps of the other 9 things I just mentioned to look for? So that's something that I started doing early on with my business. Is when I was trying to select different people to help me with the business, I would ask them for references. What clients would be willing to speak to me about the performance of your business? That's really important. And if they have them, that's even better. If they have to go and find them, I understand that's not a common ask. And so I completely understand if they need to take their time and get back to me with some references, because they'll have to call them and say, hey, Wade's going to call you, so that's fine. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share. A little bit of work from my my time out yesterday is pulling up that, writing down those 10, and I hope they help you out too. But thank you for watching.